What's happening? Are things working? Oh, look. There I am, bathing in nuclear fire. Ah! What time is it? What's happening? Hey everybody, it's old Hankering Fernail here, your old buddy, living the D&D dream. Just sitting here bathing in the nuclear fire, getting ready to enter the virtual realm. Greetings everybody, and I know my timing is always horrible. Sometimes I'm early, sometimes I'm late. That's because it's Saturday and it feels great. The leaves are opening, it's beautiful outside my window here, but I'm going to deny all that in the name of art and go into the virtual realm. Yeah. Hey, Proo, what's up? Yeah, well, it's always nice to fall asleep to the dulcet tones of sculpting in VR. I hope everything's working, audio and whatnot. And, yeah, I've been gone too long. Jeff Brown. Amen to that, my brother. Amen to that. I have been actually here all along. But, yeah, my video output, dismal lately. But I have a pretty cool excuse. It's the IC RPG core book, which I know I've been talking a lot about this damn thing. Nobody's seen it. There's a couple people who've seen a couple pages from it. And I imagine a lot of you are just like, I play D&D. I don't get into new things. The great thing, as the book is evolving, I'm probably 3/4 of the way through it now. And it's been so fun. It's been all I've been doing. I've just been really focusing on it. The cool thing about it, it's actually kind of become a book about sort of how to play tabletop in general. And the index card element has really become a sort of a style point in it. It's become more of a room design book. And I think a lot of people will dig on that. Everybody's constantly hounding on me for room design and more of the creative roots of how room design works and how it's awesome. So the book has kind of become like that. It's really awesome. I really like it. I'm just doing art for it page by page and writing it as I go and assembling it as I go. And it's always how I want to do it with a book rather than write all the text first and then cram it into a book and so on and so forth. So anyways, enough about that. But it's a fantastic project. I'm super psyched to get it out. I've got a little alpha testing group. We're going to start looking at it and rolling characters and trying some play concepts and stuff like that like next weekish. There's a lot of other large components in the works for this summer. It's just right now I'm in that mode, man. You got to go hide in the lab for a while. And you can't always be like on TV and stuff. But hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. A couple minutes early as usual because I just finished my frosted mini wheats. I'm feeling pretty good. Brushed my teeth, and it's kind of like, ooh, man, instead of going to work, I'm going to like just stay right here in my little hermit hole and do some stuff. So today's jam is all about M1RF437. That's good old Murf. And if you guys haven't followed the shenanigans, Murf was a character that I rolled up for Absolute Tabletop's science fiction 5e game, Harbinger. And Harbinger has this kind of like badass kind of feel to it, like everything's badass. And so I wanted to, you know, naturally me being a disruptive jerk, I wanted to play something much more positive and bring that kind of happy tone to this badass environment. And so that's where Murf came from. So Murf is this sort of trash can robot, you know, who predates like androids and more advanced robotics. He's just, my inspiration was like those floating trash can bots in The Black Hole. So if you guys know that Disney movie from way back in like 1981, I really loved those little trash can bots. And I wanted to capture that kind of flavor. And so that's where M1RF or Murf came from. So you guys know that I've been doing a series of medium sculpted miniatures. Cyrus now has a 3D printer, so we're starting to get our feet wet there in 3D printing. And then the new medium update has decimation built in, so you can actually clean up and reduce your meshes because these 6 million polygon meshes are really hard on the 3D printer, and it's just bleh. So finally the tech is improving another round, and so the push to get more minis done, and hopefully maybe like the end of the year, I know that seems like forever from now, but could have like a real series of miniatures on our hands, like a whole series of fantasy and a whole series of sci-fi miniatures. sculpted right here on YouTube, and we'll find a way to sort of print and produce, and maybe we could do a Kickstarter or something. It could be really awesome. But you know, I'm never going to be Bones Reaper or anything, but as far as artisanal mini making, maybe I could step into the farmer's market of gaming miniatures. So, hey everybody, hey from Australia, greetings from Sweden. Oh man, I love it. People all over the stinking world. I love getting like messages on Facebook from people in Russia saying they're playing D&D and everything. It's like, these external forces want to make us think that the world is divided, that like nations are against one another. We're not. We're all good people. Everybody loves each other. It's just a couple of jerks make it difficult. But yeah, one love, everyone. So let's get in here. Medium has some little mods to its UI that have come in lately. So if I just noob out on you, you're just gonna have to deal. Here we go, Broncos. All right. So hopefully you're seeing what I'm seeing here. I imagine you are. I think this is the first time I started a stream and didn't completely have like a fracas or a debacle of some kind. All right. So I'm not going to look at the reference painting of Murf because I just don't like doing art that way. I want to imagine what Murf can be in 3D. I don't want to just, you know, be a slave to my painting. So yeah, if you didn't see the painting, jump on Drunkards and Dragons Facebook. We're up to 3K likes on the Drunkards and Dragons Facebook. That's awesome. The posts are getting like a 5K reach now. It's really great. It's great to have all you guys around. Thanks for all the stories and private messages, everybody. I just can't list you out. There's just way too many, but thanks everyone for all the kind words and fun stories and so forth. So let's get started with Murf's main frame chunk, which is, you know, basically there's really no sugarcoating it. It's a trash can. So we'll grab this kind of cylinder thingy here and get my voxels somewhat decent. I gotta get rid of these hands. These things are obnoxious. Look at the thumbs. It's like I'm going super Fonzie here. How do I get rid of the damn hands? Are you kidding me? It's madness. It's like little fingers wiggling around all the time. Where's settings? Here we go. Settings. Hands. Off. No Fonzie. There you go. Done. All right. We defonzed. Okay. So here we go. Then we get this set up on a line. Where is it? Yeah, man, I don't know why they decided that the UI should be black. That's just, why is that cool? I don't know. Okay. Where's the, yeah, they really have changed things. Good grief. What is it doing? Hey, we have a super awesome software, and now we're going to change it. Just change, right? Change is cool. Everybody likes change. All right, there's my trash can. See, I'm not going to be picky at this stage. Let's give it some more resolution here if I can figure out how to use the damn interface now that they've changed everything on me. Oh, they put it here, okay, in here. So they decided to nest the most used interface in the thing. Okay, so that's now, where is that? Oh, it's here, and then they've nested it. Oh, okay, cool, cool. Yellow button, that's how I think. I think in terms of yellow button. All right, let's get rid of some of these ridges here. We don't need all those. Wow, they really have... Okay, cool. So here we got our little trash can. Great. Okay, so I think the top is right there. So let's kind of get in here a little closer. Let's get a cube going. And you know, this is a little different than doing like some of the fantasy stuff. Because with technology, you always need to be so, you know, rigid-minded is a way to describe it. But, you know, it's kind of like you have to do these things that look like believable chunks of machinery. They can't just be like really organic and fun, like doing belts on a wizard, right? You know, like you can have all these crazy belts. But you get into technology and everything gets so tight-lipped. All right. So he has this belt piece around the base of the trash can, just kind of like this. I think I want even more resolution. Okay. Hey, I used the UI successfully there for just a second. Yay me! I am one impressive goofball. Okay, cool. So there's our base. And you know, I like a little bit this cruft to kind of remain, even though like normal machines don't have that stuff. It just looks like someone sculpted it, you know? Which I guess someone actually did. That would be me. God, I don't know why you guys watch this stuff. I am so dumb with my commentary. All right, cool. There we go. There we go. And there's this little piece. For some reason, this little piece really stuck out to me in the design. And I have a chair. Okay, so I'm going to cut the hole. So he has like vents. He has 3 vents up front. And I basically imagined that they are what's used for his PA system. So in our adventure, not only does he talk with a speaking voice, but he has like a sort of built-in PA that's like extra loud, like almost like a police PA. And it's done through these vents. So there's the vents. Got a little bit of cruft on there. Clean that cruft up. There we go. Cool. So in the 3D print, that cruft is going to be my friend. So if you notice too, you just do 2 cuts. You do one as your big cut, and then you do a little inner cut, and you just get some of this fun little accidental kind of rimming or ribbing inside there, and it just gives it a little bit more of that cue that makes your brain go, oh, it's a machine. It's believable, hankering for now. Okay, so down here, let's pull the line off. We don't want any of that. And now I'm just going to kind of cut a little impression down here. And this will just be sort of where his leg machinery is. Another area that this idea was inspired by is Goro Fujita's robot designs. I really like his designs. My man E. Speakman introduced me to Goro Fujita's art about a year ago, and at the time I was like, I don't know, it's all right, but man, it really grows on you. Okay, we're going to go back to this kind of tool here, and we'll do the top. And, you know, at first I kind of didn't want Murf to really have like a garbage can like lid, but playing with Jake Norman, who was playing a Treader, which is kind of like the fighter merc kind of class in Harbinger. For some reason, he just had a real intuitive way of describing Murf and how he was built, and the idea of a sort of a trash can lid just sort of got its own life, you know, which is one of the wonderful things about tabletop is things just become that that are crazy that you never would have thought of. Oh, like I want to do it this way, I want to do it that way. How do I even do things in here? I don't know what all this stuff is. This stuff's crazy. Can I? No, I don't want that either. Here's what I want. Look at this interface. How crazy is this? Clear M1 RF. Save. Progress preserved. Moving on. All right, so the way that I had imagined it was that it has this like offset handle. Like that. And then it also had a electronics package right here. And then the electronics package is kind of on this little, you know, He's not Imperial though. God, don't make him an Imperial droid. That's not cool. All right. And then he kind of had some odd angles on his electronics and sensor package. It looks like they've made the trigger taper a default behavior, which is also a dubious decision. Love the guys at Oculus. Went down and met them in San Francisco. Really cool guys, so I can't talk too much doo-doo. I love what they've been making. I just want them to make more and more and more things. So if they change on it, I reserve the right to complain. But I will never abandon you, Oculus Medium. I wouldn't call it love, but it's definitely deep, deep affection. All right. So now I'm just kind of have my drawing that I did in mind about how I do some of these little antenna clusters and stuff, and I'm just kind of trying to match that up. So, you know, like for doing a full 3D sculpt, you'd want to do like some metal materials and stuff like that you know, make it really believable and like this looks like a 3D model and all that stuff. But one thing I've found I've really been enjoying about sculpting miniatures is that you kind of work in this white plastic. And working in white plastic is strangely freeing and totally awesome. Okay. I've already forgotten where save is. Is that wrong of me? Here we go. Quick save. Okay. Am I a wrong man for that? Okay, so let's get into... This is cool. So let's get into some more of the stuff. I think the hinges for this are right over here. Am I mirroring? Yeah, I don't want to mirror. I've already forgotten where mirror is. There it is. So the hinges are like right here. Whoop. Whoop. And a little guy in the middle. Whoop. There we go. No big deal. I don't want to get like really complex. One of the things I liked about Murf's design is that it's a very, very simple design. You know, it isn't all imperial and all, you know, da-da-da. You know, it's just kind of very, very early age, like an air conditioning unit. Extremely simple. I don't know why that needed to be tapered, but the good Lord made me such that I was looking at that and I could not leave it untapered. Okay, good. There we go. So feeling good so far. I'm like hesitating in case you didn't notice. This is me procrastinating, but I have to do the eye, the sort of the eye lenses and the arms. And those are where all his personality lives. So I'm going to continue to procrastinate and I'm going to do the legs. I think I'll just do symmetrical legs since it's so easy. Actually, no, symmetrical legs honestly kind of suck when it comes to miniatures. So I'm going to do a new layer. There we go. Wow, empty. How is that helping me? Okay, and then I will, I'm going to up its resolution. I keep pressing the wrong buttons. There we go. Okay, going to up its resolution, and then we're going to go back to mirror mode. And I'm going to do this with sort of one of these little shapes. One of these. This will work. Okay. All right, and he has these kind of funny little legs, so I'm going to kind of do this little jam. Honestly, they have all these different stamps and all these different tools in medium, you know, all these shapes and all this cool stuff, and I always just use the cube. Or just the cube is my love the cube. Okay. There we go. So usually, you guys probably notice, I'll just sort of freehand a stroke. And I'll just freehand it over and over until I get it right, because that's how unskilled I am. But I would rather do that than use a bunch of tools and constraints and tech to get me what I want. I really like to, as you guys know from like my so-called drawing style too, I really like to just play with error and play with that kind of the fun of drawing when you're a kid, you know? Like when you're doing like drawing war as a kid, like Stickman War, you're not worried if you're drawing it properly or correctly. Okay, so here's his little quadriceps, and then I'll give him some little hamstrings here. So these are just little nested cylinders, no big deal. It's just a lot like how you would draw, only you're sculpting in VR. Other than that, it is exactly the same. Okay, so then he has these fun little knee joints, which again, when you're drawing, are so intuitive and so, you know, things I've been drawing since I was little. Okay, and then there's the upper portions of his legs, so he's kind of like... doo, 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 doo. All right, so now to give him a little more believability, what I want to do is... I honestly don't know how to do it now. Oh, there we go. Okay, so now I have that layer selected, and I'm just going to kind of go like this. There we go. And get it off kilter. Like that. Then we'll get rid of mirroring. If I can remember the interface. There we go. We'll get rid of mirroring and just draw these lower legs one by one. And just freehand this. All right, so he's kind of got his chilled back leg and his sort of more brave front leg. My legs are very brave. Does that feel right? I mean, because he's going to have his arm to give him some weight here. So he's, there it is. That's his stance. So he's got a little obstacle on the ground that he's navigating here. And this poor guy is so ill-equipped for rough terrain. He's the opposite of those freaky dog robots that can walk over anything. All right, so now we do his little feats. He just has these fun little feats. So that one's like stepping on something, and this one's more like, a little off kilter and stepping out. But I like this one to be a little more like the weight is on that foot, so it needs to be kinked like that. There we go. Then this one can be, don't be afraid to point the toe. Don't be afraid to point the toe. That's how you know you're dancing. If you're not making stupid facial expressions and pointing the toe, you're probably not dancing. There we go. So now just these little feetses. Get these cute little feetses here. There we go. And this stuff will matter in a print. This will be the flavor saver when it comes to a 3D print. This stuff will be captured and will be really cool. I hope. I always do these sort of top of the foot buckles. I don't know why. I think I get it from Gundam or something. But I love those things. I don't know why. They're just awesome. Like, I want a pair of shoes with those on there. Okay, the next, he's going to need some hydraulics to work the feetses. And we'll do something like this right here. And then bring it down. And nest in the little guy. Take the nest in plunge. Wow, how old am I, huh? Talking about the nesty plunge? You gotta be kidding. You guys should go watch movies from 1981. And by the way, take the nesty plunge. Dungeons and Dragons brought to you by 35-year-old things. All right. And let's do these little fun sort of base joints. And are those in the same place? Hell no. Are they symmetrical? No. It's all good in the hood, baby. And then let's do a little bit of shin detail. Like, flat shins are always creepy. Is that what I want? I don't even know what I want right now. It's like a sort of a sub-knee. What do you call that thing? Not the patella, but that little, where the doctor hits you and your knee flinches. What is that called? Okay, cool. So there's my little feetses. And there's my guy. Now, you'll notice there's a problem where this feels like his face. And that's where we're going to get the lens going, and we're going to alleviate that. Because I don't want that to be his face. Progress preserved. Another victory for the Alliance. Okay, so this little thing, this is going to be on the 3D print. That's not acceptable. So let's give this some love. A little bit more love. It's all about love. Love is what makes the world go round. Put as much as you can of it into the world. Always love them peoples. Love them for who they already are, not who you want them to be. All right, there we go. Nice. So now he has a cool little underpiece. And then we're going to do some cables down here to, like all early model droids had very bad cable taming. It's like a college entertainment center under there. So we're going to go, zoop, right? These little cables like this, zoop, zoop. And everyone using the 3D printer is hating me right now for adding those, but they're super cool. Somebody with an extremely tiny pair of files and pliers can deal with that when the time comes. All right, great. So there is our leg layer. We're looking pretty good. This is a lot how I imagined him. Whew. So the time of procrastinating is drawing to a close. We're going to have to do the hard part now. I don't think it's going to be hard. I'm just scared. I'm just trying to be honest, guys. I'm scared right now. pooping in my pantaloons. Okay, so we go back to the body layer there. Now we're in Coolville. Matt Coolville. So I want to build this thing off center. So that's going to take away my my use of mirror. So that's a little bit sad, but you know what? We're gonna be brave and we're gonna do this thing. And I think it's about yay. Man, when you gotta go for it, you gotta go for it. Yeah, that's about it. So it's like right in here somewhere. No, that's too much of a offset. There we go. Okay, so now I'll cut out the space for the lens in here. Is that a good cut, or did I miss my cut? I think I got a good cut. Then he has like tertiary optics. I can't remember how many I put in the painting, but it's something like that. And then he also has these little like micro sensors that there's two of them and they're indented like that. Yeah. Cool, man. Okay, so that's the beginning of the lens array. Now I need, there we go, I need that little guy. And then a little hole right here. Okay. And then the interior of this needs this kind of multi-layering aspect to it. So I'm going to fill and then I'm going to drill like that. And I missed. Like that, yeah. So that you get a couple of little layers inside there to give it that coolness. Oh man, everybody loves a little bit of coolness. All right, and then we're going to fill it in with a curved lens chunk. Why did they add all this silly stuff? There's like skulls in here now. Don't want to sculpt a skull? Don't worry. There's one in here now. Okay, so we'll turn that around. And here's my lens. Now this is difficult. I don't like that bulge. I need a sphere. As usual, I'm all about the primitives, man. There we go. See how nice those primitives are? It's just like, get this sort of feeling of mathematic wonder. God, dude. So normally, yeah, I would do like, emissive glow shaders and everything on these little eye lights and all that stuff. But this is to be a 3D miniature, so I'm just going to stay with the white plastic and stay true to myself. You know what I mean? I still don't know where save is. There we go. Progress preserved. Greetings, bioforms. If I were programmed for gender identification, I would greet you in an appropriate way relative to that identification. But lacking that programming, I will hope the context of our future interactions will be fine without it. Oh, all right. No, those are fine. No need to go back and scratch old scabs. Cool. Feeling good in the neighborhood right now. Okay, that's cool. I do want a little focus puller on this lens, though. There we go. Way to have to narrate, dude, to just do one little brush piece, one little stupid cube. Guys, I've got something really interesting to say. All right. I think I'm going to try to get a ring on here that looks like a mounting ring to the hull. Not quite. Not quite. You play a good game, boy. But the game is finished. Now you die. All right. Well, confound it. I don't know if you guys can hear it. Probably not. But every time I'm doing one of these higher res strokes, my Alienware is like, ooh, processing. Okay, cool. That's what I wanted. Kind of almost like a fire hydrant or something. I'm not programmed for fire suppression. But if I were, I would suppress the fire. I don't know. Okay, now, those of you who know Murf know that I don't know where the save button is. There it is. He really has a primary arm, which was actually blown off in combat, but, you know, we're not going to think about that right now. It's a little unpleasant. He has a primary arm, and then he has a utility arm. The utility arm is like, sort of like R2's little pop-out arm. Like, it has these little claws and pokers and a little blowtorch and stuff like that. He uses it to hand people cigarettes and stuff. But the other arm is a full-on, like, beefy kind of actuator arm. So just because that's so fun, let's do that first. Okay, so there's the mount for it. Again, we get that kind of interior detail, and then I'm just going to do like some reinforcement sort of thingies. And you know, they have like little stamps and stuff that have kind of similar technological shapes to some of this stuff, but I just like to draw it myself. Is that so wrong? Why do I keep apologizing for it? I do this every time. All right. Look at these little things, just holding this little thing on this little thing here with these little doodads. All right, there's the base of the arm. Then we got your interior ball joint. Standard early model design. And then we've got, I don't know what that means. I'm just making things up. Then we've got something like this. It looks it's too advanced for him. He's just more made out of cylinders and stuff. I always gotta just go back. Always go back to the basics. What we're about to do right here is go back. There we go. It's not quite that thick, so I'm gonna pull it in like that. Come down, give it a little extrusion. They totally made trigger taper default. I'll never forgive them. I've already forgiven them. All right, then we have the top, I think, is more hydraulics and more raw. And then the bottom has a little bit of a casing to it. So we'll see if we can't execute that concept. Why is everything we? It's because I'm so alone in here. VR is a lonely place, I tell you what. Okay, cool. And then I always like to do these sort of offset screw things like this. I have no idea why. Maybe it comes from R-Type or something, but I've always thought they're kind of cool. Okay, groovy. There we go. We're looking cool, man. We're looking really cool, man. I like what you're doing with that sculpt, Hanky. Oh, wait. That angle's all wrong. I don't like what you're doing with that sculpt, Hanky. Your upper arm hydraulics have a bad angle. All right. I hope no one takes my country accents the wrong way. I'm a foothill dweller myself, so I reserve the right to talk like that in a non-derogatory fashion. It is all love, people. All love. Well, that's kind of almost a theme today. It must be a good day. If the word love is coming up multiple times in your day, that's a good day. All right. Now, I know this isn't, D&D and fantasy and stuff, so I hope everybody's still hanging around and having a good time. But, if anything, Harbinger has really revealed that there is a ton of commonality between sci-fantasy role-playing and good old fantasy role-playing. A ton of overlap. I think there are some brands of sci-fi that would feel disorienting to a fantasy player, or not feel right, or not, feel too complicated or too modern, or not escapist enough. But I think, especially the way that Click executed our adventure, which, was really simple. It was almost like a sort of a 5 a 5-piece adventure, 5 rooms or 5 scenes. And it was really simple. It was like negotiating with the Lord, which is part of tons of fantasy games. And then a brief travel interlude, a bit of sort of an arrival maneuver we had to pull. Then we had, I think it was 3 rooms where we were just trying to sort of unlock access to the final room. We did that stuff, and then we had our final room, and it was great. It was like 3 hours of play. It was really, really good. It reminded me a lot of a good fantasy session. So science fiction doesn't have to be, all heavy and complicated and, reminding you of everything you dislike about the modern world. It can be like fantasy and be fun. Okay, so he has this big manipulator claw. It's something like this. And I always imagined, it never really came into the game, but I always imagined that he sort of doesn't like it. It's kind of, he considers it intimidating to his bioform friends. Because they have, these beautiful, elegant hands. And he has this sort of freaking claw. But it never really came into our role play where I was, apologizing to my friends about my claw. But I think it was just in my imagination. Another great thing that I love, I have such a list on this topic, I could talk about it forever, but that I love about tabletop is how there are layers and layers to it that may or may not ever come into play. And just how unlimited that is just so fun. But I think more than anything, well, that's not true. But a big one is the distance between concept and realization in tabletop gaming is so short. It's really, there is almost no distance. It's like, I have an idea of a thing I want to do, an adventure I want to have, an experience that I want to sort of dream up with my friends. And within moments, we're ready to do it. Ready to go. Whereas, in video games, the distance is just vast. You need an entire team of people. You need a ton of luck with which people you get and who their leadership is and how good that team is jiving, and then you need about $1 bazillion in about 5 years, and you get something kind of cool. Okay, so these are little grip ridges so that he can grab either bolts or beer bottles, monkey chickens, whatever. All right, then you get a little auxiliary hydraulics here. And then that hydraulic needs a little node that's going to hook it on to this one, a little pivot. Yeah, sweet. I apologize for my intimidating claw, but I am an early model air conditioning maintenance droid. Actually, he's not a droid. I was really set on not using that word because to me that's short for android. And an android is a human-like advanced robot. This is not one of those. They probably didn't even originally equip this thing to talk because how weird is that, right? He's just in the background in some construction site picking up garbage. Oh, is everyone alive? I think I just broke my face. Okay, cool. So there we have the main arm. Yes, that's an arm. Okay, so now we'll do the utility arm, which is far smaller. And the original use that I imagined for the utility arm was for a welding shield, so that his optics would not be damaged by blowback from like TIG welding. So we're just going to run with that. Put a lot less detail into this. Oops, well, not so little that it's just soft serve ice cream. Jeez. Okay, there we go. And then this thing, I don't even think it has an elbow. I think it's just like, you know, like maybe a teeny little joint right here. We'll pre-plan the joint. There we go. Hey man, did you pre-plan your joint? Because this thing's amazing. All right. There we go. So it does extend and retract. And then we'll just put a reinforcement brace on it like this. There we go. Just this little simple little construction. Confound it. No, I don't want that. I don't want it to look like that. I want it to look like that. There. Okay, and then we have this little shield. And again, I see some cool shapes here that they've added to medium. Like this little, there's a little radio and there's a little a dozer shape. Well, I've lost it now because my competence is so low. But I think what I'm going to, oh, there's the little dozer. Look at that cool little guy. But instead of using that cool little guy, I'm going to do it old school. Old school, right. Things that you do in medium are never old school. Okay. Too big. There we go. Then get my good old trusty cube out. Make a cut cube. And since I've got the body there, I can't be too, there we go. Cool. And then it's got this like little look-through window. There you go. So how that protects his eyes from welding spatter, I have no idea. Now that I look at it, it is not a functional piece of machinery, but you know what? We're going to live anyway. If Forrest Whitaker can be in a Star Wars movie, then I can do what I want here. Okay, great. So there we have our guy. Now I think we're going to need a base, and I can't remember where save is. There it is. We're going to need a base, and I've got to cut some seams in this thing. Cutting seams always makes me nervous because I don't like doing it, and I feel weird. I get nervous, scared. And this is the time when, if you guys were sitting here in this room with me, which would be really weird, you would say, dude, don't be scared. It's all good, man. You got this. Your whole life has led to this moment, bro. And I'd be like, damn, son. That's some real knowledge. See, it's this kind of stuff. I hate doing these things because I don't like straight lines, but my hand is only mortal, so it only goes so straight. And they're just never what I want. So I'm going to try stopping complaining for starters. Nope. Nope. Okay, maybe that's keepable. Smooth it out. See, it just that doesn't look like a seam in two pieces of metal to me. So let's try a different stamp that is a sort of one of these. Now, you may think like, Hankern, are you out of your mind? That's some kind of sharp-ass cone. Well, we're going to use the cone. No, we're not. Because you were right. I'm in psycho to use that. I can't flip it around. All right, let's use a football. No, football isn't working too good either, is it? I hate doing these things. Ugh. Okay, how about like this thing? That is easily the worst one yet. But if I don't do the seams, when you're dry brushing this model at the end, it will not work. It won't have what you want. So I have to confront this problem. I have to do it. Okay, that's probably going to give me what I want. Just like that. Okay, so now how can I get it steady? Let's try line constraining. And I'm also in surface mode, so is that even a thing? Like, What's happening? That's kind of cool. Dad, what's happening? You're about to explode, son. But Dad, I had just begun to live life. I'm sorry, son, but you're going to explode now. See, I'm okay with like losing this in a few spots in exchange for it being straight. I just can't stand wiggly lines. I mean, unless you're like Shel Silverstein or some, Bill Plimpton, and you can master your wiggly lines, which I can't. There we go. This is some riveting YouTube, right, guys? Hey, you see what I did there? Riveting? Speaking of which, I should totally do some rivets. Like, I mean, it doesn't get more exciting on YouTube than this, guys. Okay, and then let's kind of bring it up. Pretty good, pretty good, pretty good. Much better than the human hand was able to do. So now let's do a few rivets because these panels need to be held together. So no line. Yes, all those things. It's like the year is 2565. We still use riveting to hold together metal panels. Because panels. There's like a guy in a newsy hat and a rivet gun. Newsies. You don't get to think about newsies too often. Cool. Where's my... There it is. I used the interface successfully that time. Let's see if I can remember where save is. Nope, I lost that. I failed to check. There we go. Progress preserved. All right, guys. I think we have got M1RF437 ready to go. I think he's looking a little limbo-y. So to get rid of the limbo, I'm going to go to the legs here, and I'm going to kind of grab like this, and then I'm going to jet like that. Still a little bit limbo. Limbo is like if I put their feet on the ground, they'll look like they're like leaning back too much. Like a little bit of leaning back is awesome, but if it's too much, it's just like, whoa there, Pete. See, there's the limbo effect. And I want him to look kind of dynamic, so that's good. Okay, cool. I think we're good. Now we need to go in here. Oh, did you see that? I remembered where the interface was. Guys, I did a thing. Guys. All right, so this is just the mini base. Sweet. Okay, let's get rid of the extra now. And when this gets decimated down, this should smooth out and everything should work out fine. Okay, so here's where you have to ask yourself, like, is that going to sit well down on the table? So here's my tabletop. It's right there. Oh yeah, that's feeling great. It's a little off as far as that goes. Like if that was a mini and I was reaching down to play with it, does that sit well? I think I'm feeling good about it. Okay, great. So I was going to do a little bit of debris. Because, you know, like when you're painting these minis, you always want a little bit of like stuff happening down around the feet so that they kind of are on something rather than just a super clean disc. At least that's how I am. Like I'll get a Ralpartha mini or a Reaper mini and then always put a little bit of, maybe glue a few pieces of sand on the base. Or whatever, something to catch some detail. There we go, cool. Then I got to clean up my work here. You know, and like 3D printer people are going to hate me for not just having some kind of primitive that I can use for this base so that it's perfectly clean, but you know, you can only do so many things. And then you got to rely on the skill and talent of others to be skilled and talented. I forgot where it was again. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Murf. And I don't know where... There we go. There he is. M1RF437. Looking pretty cool. That is going to be an awesome miniature. That's going to be very, very fun. So let it be written. So let it be done. So let it be fun. So great. So later this year sometime, look forward to a whole line of miniatures. And I think these could even be cool just printed on acrylic and, you know, like in a light gray and go right to the table without paint. It could be pretty neat. So that is it, you guys. That is Murf. That was much simpler to sculpt than a, you know, like a dwarf or a full-on fantasy character. Just mechanical is simpler. That is the nature of the universe, especially when you're a trash can with legs. All right, goodbye, Murf. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Do you trust me? All right, so I'm gonna get out of here, and let's get back to reality. Here it comes. Retina burn incoming. Holy crap. Blinded by the light. Sorry if I had some of my medium window over the chat there. That was a goof. What do we got? Hey, that was only half an hour. Bang. A minor case of eye melt, but you know, no problem with that. So hey, yeah, thanks for joining me there for the sculpt. Let me switch things around here. Get ready for recursive crazy vision. Don't need that. And then let's just do big me. Big me. Wow, it's big me. All right. Yes, Olavsky, the legs, super, super small. It was all part of the design that I just wanted to do. I wanted to do a really small design that was just like, we actually have had some scenes when we were playing where he would retract the tiny legs and just sit on the ground like a trash can. And I liked that design. I see, again, it kind of goes back to Goro Fujita's style, which he does these tiny little legs. And I just really liked it. It just made him feel more like an object rather than a mechanical person. And to me, that was sort of the character. So there you have it. Oh wait, I deactivated chat. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. Yeah, I used your Prisoners in Moloch adventure modified to start my own campaign the other night. That's fantastic. So how did it go there, Wolf Den Gaming? I just had to get my coffee. The name of the software is Oculus Medium. Yeah, Elfbait. I also do, well, as you guys know, a lot of traditional sculpting. And the minute that I found out about Medium, I basically flipped my shit. And did it work some, and then realized maybe it wasn't really going to be a good fit for work. And that's when wife level epic happened, and she got me this setup for Christmas. I'm making a Fallout Alien game. Any ideas? Whoa. Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of like what I was mentioning earlier. If you're going to do science fiction, double your efforts at all times to keep it fantasy-like in its detail level. You know, avoid like global communication, avoid economy and complex cities and you know, intricacies like vehicles and things that actually kind of make modern life a little less pleasant and fantasy life romantic. Catch those things in your sci-fi setting. You know, disable your travel, disable your communications, but you can have all that sci-fi wonder. But you know, one of the great things about a fantasy world is you can just like walk through a field when you're going somewhere. And in sci-fi worlds, sometimes you don't have that, and so try to work that into your game. Yeah, Mark the Potato, totally. I think it was a complete accident when I was painting it, but hey, whatever. Oh boy, Cameron Whitlock is rolling up. Whew, and hey, what's up, Cyrus? My players refuse to work as a group, and how do I fix it? Usually you don't fix that. I've found that the foundation, and I've talked about this before, the foundation of a good group is that they're friends already. And when they come to the table, what they want to do is be friends. And if you have a group who doesn't want to be friends, and I mean real friends, like where you care about people, like, you know, they're moving and they need you to come and help and bring pizza, and you do it. If you're not friends in that way, the group just, it can really have a hard time gelling, because it takes years to become friends. And you can't pretend that's just going to happen the minute you sit down at the table. And I think especially sometimes younger players or newer players, they're kind of just getting used to the game of like, I want to do something cool. And they accidentally focus on doing something cool rather than working together. Not realizing that working together is actually the most nuanced and interesting part of the game. And you know, you sometimes get that group that just does not gel chemically. And in that case, I would suggest, you know, just being open about it and try another group. And you don't have to conclude every group with a big freaking badass ending, and you don't have to, this isn't a job. Like, you don't have to do everything to a certain standard. You're just kind of trying things and having fun. So if a group doesn't gel, it's all good, you know? Oh, Wolf Den Gaming. Hey, that's good news, man. How artistic would you need to be to use the software? And yes, Michael Moore, I do have an art background. I've been doing it professionally since about 93. I don't think you need a lot of background in it, but you do need a sense of space. And I think more than anything, you need a sense of confidence that if you start throwing shapes together and doing things, it's going to make something. The biggest error I see in people who you know, don't have a lot of art experience when they're learning or they're getting into it is that they hit undo just over and over and over and over. And my advice is just enjoy your skill level now. You're not going to be good pretty much ever. You know, there's always going to be a lot of people better than you. That's a good way to describe it. And so if you're too fixated on your weaknesses, you never finish a piece. And I think it's good to just kind of go with your own skill level and just embrace it and show it to people and use art as communication and be who you are now. And in time, the quality of the output will get better, but it won't get better if you doubt each step. And I see a lot of people do that as they're learning. I do it more than I would want to. But when you get really confident, you just start getting your own style and just fun things start happening you didn't expect. And I think that's when art gets beautiful. Skeetered elements to craft. I just looking for tips on skeetered elements. Oh, scattered elements. Pedro, hey, you know, it's funny you mentioned that because I was cleaning up my room for today's cast, and I found this little piece of styrofoam rock. Here, I'll grab it. It's this little guy right here. This little guy. This humble little piece of styrofoam is one of the first things that I ever made. It's just a little chunk. It's the bottom isn't painted. There's no penny in the bottom or anything, so the weight is terrible. It has a little spiral cut in it, and the Zacto work is all sloppy and crap. This is one of my absolute favorite pieces of terrain and most useful in almost every room I make. A little piece of stone. It's perfect for like dressing or for line of sight or whatever. It's just, I love this little thing. So when I found it on the ground, naturally I was heartbroken. Oh, hey, great. Joel Esterline, thanks for the opportunity for a plug. He just ordered the Runehammer novels. Yeah, please, you guys, that is maybe one of the best ways to support me is either go on drive-thru and grab copies of Index Card RPG or go on Amazon and grab copies of my 2 novels. I'm not going to get into Patreon. I honestly just don't have the patience for even more complexity in my flow. So as this accelerates and I get more and more into what I'm doing, the support really does matter because it makes going full time at it more and more possible all the time. And I think we're all going to have a blast when I can reach that point. And we're on that path. So please jump on Amazon, grab those Runehammer novels. I really hope you enjoy them. Let me know what you think. I put a lot of heart into those things. The 3rd one is on its way. How's it going with RCRPG and next novel? There you go. The next novel is halfway done. It's called Of Wolves and Wonders, and it takes this sort of Alfheim story to this kind of mega cosmic kind of level. A whole new set of characters, and it's the same world from the other 2 books, but about 150 years later, after this event called the Decimation. So I'm not going to tell you everything, but shit gets crazy up in there. As for ICRPG, it's coming along great. It's going to be outstanding. It's going to be the thing of the year for me. Yeah, on that Moloch note, had a great message on Facebook. Viewer playing Moloch, and they made some kind of raft at the end of the adventure and rode the gelatinous river that's going out of that opening, like Land of the Lost style, like off this big drop, and they went down into the Black Ocean, which is my sort of underdark ocean. And they kind of washed up on the shore of this Black Ocean. And that was the end of the adventure. I was like, oh my God, that is such a great freaking ending. I didn't think someone would actually do it. Like, it's fantastic. So it's really wild and fun to see people playing the material. A lot of thought goes into that material. That's why it's a little more sparse maybe than I know a lot of you guys want. I've been talking about Depths of the Dark Brotherhood for weeks now and still haven't executed the video because I just don't have the mental command of it. It's the dungeon that you guys saw me draw while I was drinking beer a few weeks back, and I've just been working to fully realize that dungeon with its creatures and its mechanics, and it takes time, so I'm glad it gets to everybody's table. I wish I could do more, but I'm dancing as fast as I can, mother. It's good to... The print is nice and big for my awful bifocal nerd vision. Oh, in my novels? Yeah. God. Prue bought the books. Then next in queue... You only got in front, well, nepotism. Hey man, a little nepotism goes a long way in this world. On the subject of One Love. Have you released any more info on Mokhtar? Absolutely not. Mokhtar is in the deep freeze right now. It went through a little bit of a moment. It became a world called Iron Heart, which is not referring to a person of courage, but actually to the center of the planet, which is this molten iron ball. Ironheart was about to be a huge module set on Roll20. So I did a bunch of work there and developed this whole thing into Roll20. And the more that I've gotten into Roll20, I actually, for one thing, I think it's clunkier to use than Hangouts and XSplit, which is, I got a tutorial on XSplit coming up. But also, I just don't think there's a lot of revenue in Roll20 for me and what I want to do. So rock on, all Roll20 players. You guys are cool. Like Koble runs some really cool games. He's running Yawning Portal out of Roll20 right now. That's kind of fun to watch. But I just don't think that Roll20 is going to be right for me. It's just a lot of legwork to get a lot of material into it. And I think it's a lot easier to get material straight to you guys in other ways. So we'll do that. Thanks for doing the streams. Thanks for all the ideas and room design as masterclass. Hey, thanks, Nate. Appreciate that, man. Another Moloch one-off. That's fantastic. Oh, man. Escalation. Yes. The escalation die is great. I don't care how you put it into your game. But in my mind, the escalation die is as game-changing as the timer. It's almost like an inverted version of the timer. So if you brought the timers into your games, you know how fun they can be. And the escalation die from 13th Age is the same. It's really fun, especially when character powers are based on the number on the escalation die. I think as a blanket bonus, doing addition gets a little old. But as if the battle is of X intensity, your character can X. Ooh, so cool. Hangouts in beast mode. Oh yeah, is beast mode. Hangouts is beast mode, especially when you get XSplit working for you. It's fantastic. It actually seems to even out your latency and some of your camera like latency spiking, and then you can change scenes and show your character while your character's talking. And oh man, it's awesome. Oh my gosh, Daniel Morgan. I have been recording the Runehammer audiobooks for months now, and it is extremely difficult. Like, I got mad respect for voice actors and their ability to consistently read without making errors. It is amazing how good they do it. So I have been recording those. It is an arduous process. So I'm working on it. I'm still not sure what the sort of revenue is like with audiobooks, if it's like so badass that I'm dumb to do anything else, or if it's sort of negligible. I just don't know yet. So I'm gonna try, but no promises. That's a tough project. PC's one of the effects of memory and got stuck in a dungeon as initiation. Yeah, classic stuff. I'll be picking up index card. Hey, great. You know, a lot of people, I don't think, are even fully using index card RPG in the way that I had imagined. I think they just get it and print it out and sort of like to have it around for sort of idea fuel, or maybe just as like an art fan thing or something. But it really does sell pretty well, and I think it's great, and I'm just proud of it, I guess, is what I mean to say. Is I put a lot of work into it, and something about it really feels right for who I am. The way that it portrays a fantasy universe in a sort of a Sharpie way. You know, originally that Sharpie style started because I wanted to do a style that I felt more people could do at their table. So if I could give them a big pile of art that they could improvisationally add to, they'd have a consistent look to things. Rather than, like, you know, most people can't do like WotC type art. They just can't. I mean, I can't. And so if they do their own little supplement and then they have their WotC piece, they're like, ugh, they're vastly different. But my hope with ICRPG is this more relaxed, more kind of open-hearted style could fit how you Sharpie down a little mountain range because you forgot it for your game. Yeah, rallying is also cool. Really, 13th Age just has a ton of little gems in it. Hey, great. Thanks, Ethan. Nice to have you in the journal DM culture. I'm a real believer in it. I think it's the forced economy of the journal makes the game run fast and removes a lot of unnecessary detail. I just cut the foot off my archer by accident. Yes, the life of crafting right there. Did I miss the stream? No, Alistair, you're in the stream currently. Your tutorial is the reason I started DMing. Oh man, hey, thanks a lot, Anthony. I appreciate that. I have no explanation for what the hell is happening with the channel. We just blasted right through 18K. I imagine we'll be to 20K here within 6 weeks or so, and I did not think it would reach that point. I guess I kind of hoped it would, but I'm not sure why. Not sure what the hell I'm doing. But for 20K, we're definitely going to do a bunch of special shit, so I'm already trying to pull some of that together. It's going to be a bit of a celebration, if you would entertain me for a while. So we're going to try to get a bunch of people on, and I'm going to go live for a while, and we're going to do some fun stuff, and we'll see what becomes of it. You know how things are. Every time's the first time. So, but I appreciate that. Yeah, hey, great. That's awesome. Spacho. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to use it. Once you print it out and cut it, there's something about it, and this is how I got started, is I was just doing art on index cards for shits and grins, basically, and I started drawing those ropers. And when I was drawing the ropers, I was just like, this is neat. And I didn't even know what the hell I was doing with it, but I just was like, this is neat little ropers on an index card. For some reason, that just... It's like that first time you make one of these little, you know, sponge painted pieces of styrofoam rock. You're like, that actually looks like a little rock. I feel good about this. I want to do this. Yeah, throwing out, giving the Sharpies to the players and letting them, I mean, some players, you know, they live and die by doodling during play. It can distract you sometimes. I've noticed as a player myself, if I'm really into a drawing and I'm also trying to play, I'm not the best listener in the world. But I mean, there's nothing that an artist loves more than to sit at the D&D table and draw people's characters and stuff like that. It's the zone. Because you're a badass. And I'm really a lot like everyone else. I'm just kind of into it. And just the time in my life sort of came when it was time to kind of go more all into it. I had a period like this too in college, where I was really saw the sublime aspect of D&D and how it was bringing some friends together, and it was more than just a kind of an oddball hobby. It was a good way to spend time. It was a good creative soup to swim in. And many years passed, and sometimes I played and sometimes I didn't, and I'm just back. I'm back in effect, and very excited about it. I think the internet and some of the new tools have really changed how much fun you can have being into D&D. Back in the day, it was much more isolated. But man, nowadays, just awesome people are everywhere. I watch just to laugh my ass off. Well, the humor is always accidental. How can someone become a game artist? Well, I stumbled into it, but when I stumbled into it, I had been, trying to do art since I was a little kid. And really, that's all I can give you as real advice, is just get up every day and try to make a little bit of something. And, be honest with yourself about what you want to make. If you want to draw submarines, don't question it. Draw some submarines every damn day. You will get better at it. I didn't go to college for doing art. I didn't go to college for video games. I never even intended to be involved in video games. I mean, I like them as much as the next guy. I'm like playing Zelda right now. But it's not like nowadays where people like set their minds on getting in the game industry. I was never like that. I was just some kid. And I went to school for philosophy and anthropology. Really all I wanted to do was be a writer. And it just happened. The industry was growing, and just had a friend of a friend and just stumbled into it, and it just became a thing. Just one job led to another. It's kind of all come back around to its beginning, which is D&D. And I think that's where my future lies. So now it's just a matter of how do I time that and how do I make that transition? So that's what I'm working on. I think that's why I'm here. That's a pretty good answer. That had a big period at the end. Like, duh. Yeah, when I was doing Moloch, a dwarf used the gnome as a weapon. God, gnomes. It's thanks to gnomes we have this economy. Best advice, if you want to achieve something, is show up. It's so true. And showing up is such a profound and meaning-packed statement, because showing up means no expectations. Showing up means you just want to be there. You just want to do it. And you save the expectations and the doubts for later. And what happens is you start meeting people, and you just get into it. You just find yourself sliding into it if you're really showing up. Now, if you're wanting the output, or you're wanting the results, and you're not wanting to show up, you're going to find yourself not sliding in. The water slide won't take you. Like I want to make money, or I want to be famous, or I want to be awesome at this, or I want to be the coolest, or whatever. It won't come together. But if you honestly, with an open heart, show up to anything, I really believe that people who are already there, already having fun with it, will embrace you always. And it might take time. It might be faster than you imagine. And if like an opportunity comes up, you say yes. You do not pick it apart. Just do it. Do whatever the hell it is. If you want to breed donkeys, then just show up. And you will meet people who are excited about donkey breeds, and you got a lot of stuff to learn, and it's time to go. It's time to do it. And if they say, hey man, we got to pull a baby donkey out of a donkey, you want to come over? I don't care what plans you have. You show up. You go work on that donkey. Yeah, that 10,000 hours thing, I hear a lot about that. I'm whatever on that. I think that's someone trying to brand a phrase. I think some people can put in 1 hour, some people can put in 100,000. Everybody's on their different path, It's just show up and be yourself. DCC's Judges Guild Deluxe Edition. I don't know anything about that. Those DCC books are expensive, though. I'm a little off the book buying tip for the moment. I'm going to get back to building dungeons. I do my book reviews after about a month of reading that set of books. And honestly, that is scratching the surface. So sometimes my book reviews, I watch them later and I'm like, oh God, you have no idea what you're talking about. It really takes me like a year to absorb a book as big as the original DCC book. So I have a lot of freshies sitting there that I need to absorb right now. Like Hubris is a big one to absorb. I can't say enough good things about Hubris. It's a fantastic book. Mike Evans is a great guy. The feeling in that book is just awesome and really worth the reading time. It's a great, like I said in my video, it's a great page to open to a book to open to a random page and just read stuff. And it's just like, whoa, I want this in my game. I'm trying to build a campaign in Silvery Moon. Oh yeah, we're right up by there in our game. Could you give me some advice as how to make it darker and add dark detective themes? Whoa. Well, dark detective themes are pretty nuanced. That is pretty complicated. I mean, what you need, I guess, is a world that is detailed enough where, like, a murder would be significant. You know, a lot of fantasy worlds, people are dying left and right, and so, you know, solving a murder isn't a big deal. So maybe you could, you know, have the king or the prince or the lord of that town murdered, and there needs to be a solution to it. But I think the elements of dark detective that you want are this kind of internal narrative, like in Blade Runner. I think you want this low element, like you do not want powerful players if you want a detective feel, because all they need to do is just decimate their enemies. Detectives are grungy, poor dudes, so you need that angle. I did airbrushing back in the day, Lee. I am not doing it anymore. It's a little bit messy. And also, I think once I saw Scotty and how he paints, it really changed my view of what can be done with like a sponge and a couple brushes. And I really like the silliness or the looseness of painting that way. Airbrushing is really cool. You know, like there's a lot of, wargaming terrain that has a lot of airbrush shadows that are really believable and cool. But I think you get into a very real space with that kind of artwork with airbrushing, and it's just not where I thrive. As you guys have probably noticed, you know, I keep things kind of wacky and loose, and I like it that way. Hey, just got back into painting minis after 25 years. Yeah. Yeah, minis are really fun. I am terrible at painting minis, but every once in a while I'll do one just for my character, and it is challenging. I got a ton of respect for mini painters. 3D printing has definitely helped. I have yet to be completely blown away by 3D printing. It really needs to reach the Raul Partha type level, and I need to see that. I need to see that happen. Just, you know, no ridges and no like weird little blobs and that kind of stuff. We'll see where it can get. I still haven't used Shapeways. I just need to pull the trigger, but I hear that like this more advanced acrylic that they're using is finally getting that kind of really tasty, crispy look. The guys from Flying Frog have some amazing miniatures in their games. I'm not sure how they're doing those, but I don't think they're 3D printed. I think they're manufactured. They're like die mold, because the things are awesome. Saw them at Emerald City Comic Con, and they live right up the road. Oh, there's a break. That's the chat intermission music. Well, sweet, guys. I mean, no one's got anything left to talk about. That is perfect. That is satiation right there. So thanks for tuning in. It's been awesome. I'm going to keep working on stuff. Yeah, it's like it was supposed to be sunny today. It is not sunny today. And it is going to be fracking rainy. So I'm probably going to hide in my hermit hole and make things. Probably keep working on the book. I'm really excited to get the ICRPG core to you guys. It's really going to be a ton of fun. It comes with a crap load of miniatures of where are they? Yeah, like these little guys. You've probably seen a few photos, but these are the little guys that come with the pack, and there's 100 and some of them, and they're monsters as well as heroes and stuff. And I know this is very modest. This isn't exactly a Pathfinder pawn, but there's something to be said about consistency in your look. And I had a moment with this with my game where I'm a player, is that Cyrus and his brother are printing out, 3D printing the monsters for the game. And they're like the red ones and they're white ones and stuff, and they're not perfect by any mean, but they're consistent, and it gives that table that look like it was made, rather than we bought this and we're doing. It was like, no, we made this shit for tonight. Like, this is custom built for you, and that's a cool feeling. So hell yeah on that one. There's Alice there. Yeah, let's get out of here. Let's end this. Let's end this freak show. It's just a nut job talking on YouTube. Yeah, it's like Terry Pratchett. Style of dark sometimes. Trying to build the first one-shot module. Dark Fiend Warlock that cut people. Good God. Making up voices and mannerisms for NPCs. Oh, man. Cyrus can call me out on this one, because Online, it's a little easier to pull off. In real life, it's always funny to me. It doesn't matter how much gravitas you want to bring to it, but when you're at the table with friends, it can be very challenging to bring any kind of gravitas. So with me, I'm always like, you know, the old hag sees you entering town, and she's like, "Get out of our town, you little stinky people!" You know, I always wind up putting a weird noise at the end. And I don't know why. So I advise go for it. When it comes to NPC voices, just freaking go for it. Just go for it. Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Let's end this. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. It's great having all you guys. Keep on playing. Keep on being cool. And be uncool. Just be whatever the hell. One love. One power. One mission. One vision. Queen. Last Starfighter. Circle, circular, coming back together, all good things. Strength, honor, beer. I'll catch you guys next time. And now here's that weird part where I try to figure out how to make things stop. Da da beep 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 beep.